Chapter 795. As the inscription formation emerged, two swords were condensed and slashed at Wang Haoyan. At the same time, Lu Ming also pounced on Wang Haoyan. His left palm burst out with a terrifying devouring power, enveloping Wang Haoyan, while his right palm pushed out the suppressing hell skill. With the support of 8 inscription formations, Lu Ming's combat strength increased greatly. Wang Haoyan's eyes were filled with shock. With a long roar, the spear light turned into a phantom, defeated the two swords, and then stabbed at Lu Ming. Dong! This time, the collision was even more shocking than the previous one. Wang Haoyan was forced to retreat in the midst of the violent energy. Yes, this time, Wang Haoyan was the one who retreated. The sound of people sucking in cold air could be heard from all around. Lu Ming actually repelled Wang Haoyan, which was incredible. Wang Haoyan took 6 steps back and stood firm. With a look of disbelief in his eyes, he roared, "When did you engrave the inscription formation?" He never expected that Lu Ming was not only extremely powerful in martial arts, but also in the way of inscription. Kill! What responded to him was Lu Ming's cold killing intent. Lu Ming continued to step forward. The inscriptions on the ground appeared, condensing into swords, and slashing at Wang Haoyan. At the same time, he also charged at Wang Haoyan. Wang Haoyan roared and almost turned into a man of fire. His spear moved and collided with Lu Ming again and again. But the result was that Wang Haoyan kept retreating. Lu Ming had added 8 formations to himself, and at the same time, he had completely suppressed Wang Haoyan with the combination of the inscription formation and the devouring power of the 9 dragons' bloodline. Not far away, Luan Fengyan's face was extremely ugly. Just now, he was still high and mighty, thinking that he could suppress Lu Ming at any time and take Ruan Tingting away. Now, the facts told him that he was terribly wrong. Wang Haoyan's combat strength was definitely not weaker than his. If Wang Haoyan was suppressed, did it mean that he would be suppressed too? It was hard for him to accept. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming stepped on the ground, and the formation emerged, condensing 8 swords and slashing at Wang Haoyan. At the same time, he attacked Wang Haoyan with all his might. Wang Haoyan was suddenly in danger. Ah! Wang Haoyan let out a long roar as his spear pierced through the sky. He turned into a beam of light and soared into the sky, breaking through the attack of the inscription formation. Wang Haoyan was defeated. He rushed into the air to avoid Lu Ming's attack. Lu Ming was still unable to inscribe inscription formations in the void. Damn it! The murderous intent in Wang Haoyan's eyes burst forth. He wanted nothing more than to grind Lu Ming's bones to dust. He had actually been forced back by Lu Ming and could only flee for his life. Under the watchful eyes of so many people, this was simply a great humiliation. Most importantly, Lu Ming's martial cultivation was 2 levels lower than his. Wang Haoyan rushed into the sky, but Lu Ming did not have the slightest intention to stop. He suddenly changed his direction and took a few steps. Inscriptions appeared and condensed into a long spear, stabbing at Wang Kong like lightning. At the same time, Lu Ming took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of Wang Kong, striking out with his palm. Wang Kong turned pale with fright. This process happened too quickly. Wang Haoyan fled, and Lu Ming took the opportunity to change direction and attack him. It happened almost instantaneously, and he did not expect it at all. He roared in horror and burst out with all his strength to resist. Bang! The long spear condensed by the formation was sent flying by Wang Kong, but in the next moment, Lu Ming arrived. A terrible devouring power shrouded Wang Kong, blocking his bloodline power and weakening his combat strength. At the same time, Lu Ming's palm struck toward him. Bang! All of Wang Kong's defenses were shattered under Lu Ming's palm. Lu Ming's palm struck Wang Kong's chest heavily. Wang Kong's eyes instantly popped out, and there was disbelief and unwillingness in his eyes. No! A shrill scream came out of Wang Kong's mouth, and in the next moment, his body was torn apart. Lu Ming took another step, and his true ether wrapped around Kenfei Ryu's body. In a flash, he appeared at the edge of the cave. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. It was too fast. Wang Haotian fled and rushed into the sky. Lu Ming changed his direction and attacked Wang Kong, taking Kenfei Ryu and appearing at the entrance of the cave. All of this happened in 1 or 2 breaths. Many people did not even have time to react. When Lu Ming appeared at the entrance of the cave, everyone then came to their senses and gasped one after another. Wang Kong was killed. He was killed in an instant. Was this Lu Ming's combat strength? It was too terrifying when he used all of his combat strength. A genius like Wang Kong could not resist at all. This kid is not completely dead yet. Dandan, who was on Lu Ming's shoulder, suddenly said. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and his eyes lit up. He said, Dandan, what do you mean? What do you mean by not completely dead yet? This kid seems to be dead on the surface, but in fact, he still has a glimmer of life. His cultivation was destroyed, and he used a method to self-destruct the power of his bloodline. But after all, without cultivation, it is difficult for him to fully control the power of his bloodline. So, there is still a glimmer of life. As long as his bloodline power is restored, this kid may be resurrected. Dandan explained. Really? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Yes, now I'll inscribe an inscription formation to lock this kid's glimmer of life. The rest is up to you. After saying that, Dandan flew into the cave with Kenfei Ryu and began to inscribe the formation. He talked to Dandan through voice transmission, and no one else heard it. Damn it, Lu Ming, how dare you kill the genius of the Wang family? You're dead meat. Wang Haotian roared in the sky. Come down and fight me if you dare. Lu Ming glanced at Wang Haotian with contempt. Wang Haotian's face turned pale, and then it turned pale. He didn't dare to go down. Wang Haotian, let's work together. It's more important to get the inheritance of Supremacy Lan Jin. In less than a day, the D Tian Imperial Guards will be here. Luan Fengyan said. Okay, let's work together. Wang Haotian nodded. Everyone, let's attack together and kill this man. Luan Fengyan waved his hand. Let's attack together. Jiang Taiyu also roared. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hands rapidly, and countless inscriptions sank into the ground. Attack, don't give him time to inscribe the inscription formation. Wang Haotian roared and took the lead to attack Lu Ming. At the same time, Luan Fengyan also moved. A big bow appeared in his hand, and an arrow was shot at Lu Ming. The arrow was like a stream of light, piercing through the void and making a terrifying sonic boom. Bam! Bam! Lu Ming stomped his feet on the ground, and arrays appeared one after another. Some were offensive and some were defensive. A few ancient shields appeared in front of Lu Ming, but they were easily pierced through. The arrow was aimed at Lu Ming's glabella. The infinite dragon spear appeared, and the spear collided with the arrow. Lu Ming felt his arm go numb, and he took 3 steps back. Luan Fengyan's arrow was too powerful. Chapter 796. After blocking Luan Fengyan's arrow, Lu Ming couldn't unleash his full power. This move could only tie with Wang Haotian. Both of their bodies trembled as they took a step back. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment Luan Fengyan's arrow arrived again. This time, it was a chain of arrows. 7 arrows were shot in a row. At the same time, Jiang Taiyu, Luan Tianhao and the others also arrived. Jiang family, Luan family, and Wang Haotian, a total of 8 geniuses, plus a dozen 5th-layer spiritual ocean realm experts, all attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I'll help you. Kong Jin shouted. Fatty, guard the cave entrance. Don't come out. Lu Ming shouted. Now, the cave was full of injured people. If Fatty came out and was killed by the others, the consequences would be unimaginable. Ah! Fatty shouted. He was furious, but he also knew that he could only guard. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hand, and a few giant creatures appeared in front of him. 2 giant snake puppets and a cheetah puppet. The 3 puppets were equivalent to the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean realm. When he was in the underground world, he annihilated the Een snake tribe and seized a large number of puppets. Lu Ming asked Qi Jinkong for some puppets in case he needed them. Now, he could finally use them. The 2 giant snake puppets rushed toward Jiang Taiyu and the others fearlessly. Puppets were invulnerable and had great strength. They were best used for defense. The cheetah puppet rushed into the sky and rushed toward the arrows shot by Luan Fengyun. Dong! Dong! A series of explosions sounded. The cheetah puppet, which was equivalent to the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean realm, was hit by 7 arrows and exploded. This was also the reason why Lu Ming's spirit fire was so huge. Normal inscribers had to use all their strength to control a puppet of the same level. However, Lu Ming was perfect at every stage. With 10 spirit lamps lit, how powerful was his spirit fire? Not only could he control puppets above his level, but he could also control several puppets at the same time. Bang! Lu Ming, on the other hand, unleashed his full strength and sent Wang Haoyan flying with a palm strike. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming's hands once again danced wildly, and inscriptions sank into the ground. Kill! High up in the sky, Luan Fengyun shouted. His killing intent surged like a tide as arrows continuously shot down. Lu Ming waved his hand, and another puppet appeared. It flew into the air and exploded under the arrows. As for him, he seized the time to inscribe the inscriptions. On the other side, the 2 giant snake puppets exploded under the attacks of Jiang Taiyu and the others. However, with a wave of Lu Ming's hand, several more puppets appeared and rushed towards Jiang Taiyu and the others. At that moment, Wang Haoyan arrived. The more they fought, the more shocked Wang Haoyan became. His desire to kill Lu Ming grew stronger and stronger. Lu Ming had no choice but to stop inscribing inscriptions and fight Wang Haoyan. The genuine ether burst inscription he had inscribed on himself would not last long. If the effect of the inscription array wore off, he would be even more passive. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the sky, more arrows were shot down. This time, the arrows could actually turn, avoiding the puppets and shooting towards Lu Ming. You want to stop me with a mere puppet? Dream on! Luan Fengyun's eyes were like lightning. Lu Ming exerted all his strength, but the cooperation of Luan Fengyun and Wang Haoyan was too strong. Lu Ming was forced to retreat. What he feared most was Luan Fengyun's arrows. They were impossible to guard against, and their attack power was terrifying. They could kill people from 100 miles away. If Luan Fengyun was alone, he could naturally avoid them, close the distance between them and defeat him. However, there was also Wang Haoyan. Lu Ming's current state, even with the help of the inscription array, could barely suppress Wang Haoyan. At this moment, he was in a passive position. Lu Ming, I'll help you. Kong Jin shouted. Standing at the entrance of the cave, the battle axe in his hand flew out and danced in the air, helping Lu Ming block Luan Fengyun's arrows. Clang! Clang! The battle axe blocked several of Luan Fengyun's arrows, and then flew back. Then, the fatty threw the battle axe out again, this time at Wang Haoyan. Wang Haoyan punched the battle axe back. Buzz! At this moment, a powerful force field enveloped an area with a radius of hundreds of meters. Xian Yanqing was also standing at the entrance of the cave, behind the fatty. Although Xian Yanqing's face was still a little pale, his injuries had basically stabilized. Destruction cut. In Xian Yanqing's Sky Demon force field, Luan Fengyun's arrows were greatly weakened, and it was much easier to defend against them. Jiang Taiyu and the others were also suppressed by the Sky Demon force field. Lu Ming's pressure was reduced a little. Lu Ming, I'll help you too. Dandan flew out and stood on Lu Ming's shoulder. Brother Jian, how is it? Lu Ming asked. I've temporarily locked his vitality with an inscription formation. It's up to you guys now. Dandan said. Then, Dandan retracted its limbs into its turtle shell and flew forward. An arrow hit Dandan's turtle shell, and sparks flew everywhere, but the arrow was also knocked off course by Dandan. Dandan flew back to Lu Ming's shoulder and shouted, "You want to shoot through my invincible defense? Little brat, you're still 1,000 miles away." Luan Fengyun's eyes were filled with murderous intent. She shot 9 consecutive arrows, one after another, forming a straight line. In an instant, they traversed thousands of meters in the air, pierced through the obstruction of the heavenly demon force field, and shot toward Lu Ming. "Watch me." Dandan flew out and blocked the arrows with its turtle shell. Clang! Dandan was sent flying, but the continuous stream of arrows were knocked off their course. With a scream, a young man in the 5th layer of the Spirit Sea realm of the Luan family was shot through by an arrow and died on the spot. "Ha, I said, you're still far from breaking through my defense, little brat," Dandan shouted. Lu Ming exchanged a move with Wang Haotian and continued to inscribe inscriptions. At this time, Jiang Taiyu and the others had already rushed over. Lu Ming had already lost more than a dozen powerful puppets. Now, Lu Ming no longer had any puppets in his hands. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming took a few steps, and formations appeared, forming sabers, giant swords, spears, and so on, attacking Jiang Taiyu and the others. And Lu Ming continued to inscribe formations. Just like this, Lu Ming, Fatty, Xian Yanqing, and Dandan worked together, fighting while inscribing inscriptions. It lasted for more than 10 minutes. "It's done." Lu Ming waved his hands, and as the last inscription sank into the ground, Lu Ming revealed a look of joy. Bang! As Lu Ming took a heavy step, dense inscriptions appeared on the ground. Then, a light curtain rose up, enveloping Lu Ming and the others. In the light curtain, endless sword chi condensed and attacked Jiang Taiyu and the others. Not good, this is a 6th level top killing formation. Jiang Taiyu and the others roared in horror and retreated frantically. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the formation, sword chi was rampant, and in an instant, several young men in the 5th layer of the Spirit Sea realm were killed. Jiang Taiyu, Luan Tianhao and the others desperately rushed out of the range of the formation. In the sky, Luan Tianhao shot arrows continuously, but in the formation, they were defeated by the dense sword chi. Chapter 797. Of course, he had learned this formation from Liao Cong. In fact, Lu Ming's formation was not the complete version of the Sword Roar Thunderclap formation. The complete version of the Sword Roaring Thunder formation was a top-level 6 formation. Warriors at the peak of the spiritual sea realm would definitely die if they stepped into it. Lu Ming had spent more than 10 minutes in the battle to set it up in a hurry. Of course, it was not that powerful, but it was enough to deal with Wang Haotian and the others. Wang Haotian, Jiang Taiyu, and the others tried their best to rush out of the formation, leaving behind 5 or 6 corpses. Damn it! Wang Haotian roared. Today, not only did he not get the token he wanted, but he also left Wang Kong here. If the news got back to the Wang family, it would be a heavy blow to his prestige. His formation was set up in a hurry. Its power is limited. As long as we keep attacking, we will exhaust the energy of the formation. Then, we can go in. Luan Fengyun said with a gloomy face. Okay, we will take turns attacking. Wang Haotian said. Immediately, they arranged for Luan Fengyun to attack first. Arrows streaked across the sky like meteors, shooting towards the grand formation below. However, sword chi whistled within the grand formation, blocking all the arrows. Shao Qing, Fatty, don't worry about your injuries. They won't be able to break in. Lu Ming sat cross-legged at the entrance of the cave and said. His spirit fire was so strong that it could continuously inscribe new inscriptions into the formation. Luan Fengyun and the others could not break it with their attacks. Xian Yanqing, Kong Jin, Ruan Tingting, and the others let out a long sigh. They relaxed and started to heal their injuries. Lu Ming looked at Kenfei Ryu in the cave with a trace of worry in his eyes. If Kenfei Ryu wanted to recover, he needed treasures that could replenish his bloodline power. He could only look for treasures that could replenish his bloodline power after everything here was over. Fortunately, it shouldn't be hard to find treasures that could replenish bloodline power. Back in the Burning Sun Empire, there were blood-refining crystals and blood-refining pills that could replenish bloodline power and strengthen the second bloodline awakening. Naturally, Nine Dragons City wouldn't lack such treasures. However, it was inconvenient to carry Kenfei Ryu around like this. I wonder if I can keep it in the Temple of Paragon. Lu Ming's heart stirred. A strand of true essence rolled out, and Kenfei Ryu's figure disappeared. As expected, Kenfei Ryu appeared in the Temple of Paragon. Great! Lu Ming was overjoyed. It must be because Kenfei Ryu's body was completely devoid of vitality that he was able to absorb it. Up in the sky, chaotic winds and clouds attacked continuously. After half an hour, it was Wang Haotian's turn again. Just like that, time slowly passed. 1 hour, 2 hours, soon, a day had passed. Not only did Luan Fengyun and the others fail to break through the Sword Roar Thunderclap formation, they even exhausted themselves. Damn it! How can this be? How can his spiritual fire be so strong? Wang Haotian roared. He was so frustrated that he was about to vomit blood. The others were also glaring at Lu Ming, who was sitting cross-legged at the entrance of the cave. Shao Qing, fatty, how's your recovery? Lu Ming asked. I have fully recovered. I can fight a great battle now. The fatty grinned, revealing a ferocious expression. I'm almost recovered too. Xian Yanqing said. Then let's charge out. Lu Ming said. In terms of combat strength, they were no match for chaotic winds and clouds and Wang Haotian. They could only charge out and raise their cultivation before killing them in the future. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. It was extremely fast, and by the time everyone heard it, a dozen figures had already appeared in the sky. These people were all young, and they were all wearing armor and helmets. Their eyes were as sharp as knives. Standing at the front was a young man with a ferocious look in his eyes, like a wild beast. Long Qianli of the Imperial Sky Guard. Chaotic winds and clouds could not help but exclaim. The others, such as Wang Haotian and Jiang Taiyu, also exclaimed. The spectators were even more shocked. They were not only shocked by the Imperial Sky Guard, but also the young man, Long Qianli. Long Qianli was ranked in the top 300 on the list of top 1,000 talents. He was a true god-level genius who had awakened the god-level bloodline. Chaotic winds and clouds, how dare you! Blue Gold Reverend was the commander of the Imperial Sky Guard and his successor. How dare you take it away? Long Qianli's eyes swept across chaotic winds and the others. Long Qianli, Blue Gold Reverend has been dead for a long time. His legacy is already without an owner. Why can't we take it away? Chaotic winds and clouds said. Now that I'm here, you can get lost. We're going to bring the successor of Blue Gold Reverend back to the Imperial Sky Guard and train him to be the true successor of Blue Gold Reverend. Long Qianli said coldly. He was not polite at all and did not give Chaotic Winds and the others any face. The main forces of the Imperial Sky Divine Palace were divided into 3 groups. The first group was the Imperial Sky Guard, which was the direct subordinate of Martial Emperor De. They were extremely powerful. The second group was the 6 great ancient families. The third group was the Imperial Sky Guard's branch palaces. In fact, these 3 groups all obeyed Martial Emperor De and fought for him. However, they did not get along well with each other. Most of the people in the Imperial Sky Guard were not of noble birth. Few of them were disciples of the 6 great ancient families. Most of them were geniuses from small forces like Yan Kuangtu. They would constantly take in geniuses and train them to become the pillars of the Imperial Sky Guard. Back then, Supreme Nine Sons was one of the highest commanders of the Imperial Sky Guard. Now, Yan Kuangtu was also one of the highest commanders of the Imperial Sky Guard. Therefore, the geniuses of the Imperial Sky Guard did not get along well with the geniuses of the 6 great ancient families. Competition was a common occurrence. Chaotic winds and clouds' face darkened after being scolded by Long Qianli. Long Qianli, don't go too far. Chaotic winds and clouds said in a deep voice. Yes, I'm bullying you. What can you do about it? Do you want to have a fight with me? The ferocious look in Long Qianli's eyes grew stronger, as if he were a ferocious beast that was about to attack. Humph, apart from me, brother Wang Haotian and the geniuses of the Jiang clan are here. We are not afraid of you. Chaotic winds and clouds said coldly as a powerful aura was emitted from her body. Wang Haotian appeared beside chaotic winds and clouds. His aura was also emitted. Hee, it seems like you all are interested in witnessing the power of a god-ranked bloodline. Long Qianli's ferocious look grew stronger as a cold grin appeared on his face. Roar! Suddenly, the cry of a dragon echoed in the heavens and earth. A serpent dashed out from Long Qianli's body. The serpent was pitch black in color. Most shockingly, it had 3 heads. This was a legendary ferocious beast, the 3-headed demonic serpent. It was extremely powerful. It was said that the 3-headed demonic serpent could even compete with some of the weaker true dragons. One could imagine how terrifying it was. A golden chakra on the 3-headed demonic serpent's body attracted everyone's attention. A golden chakra was a god-ranked bloodline. Chapter 798. A 9th grade king class bloodline might seem to be only 1 grade away from a 1st grade god class bloodline, but in essence, they were worlds apart. There was no comparison at all. Those who had not awakened a divine bloodline would have limited achievements in the future. Only those who had awakened a divine bloodline could be considered a divine-level genius, and their future achievements would be limitless. The top 300 on the list of top 1,000 talents were all geniuses who had awakened a divine bloodline. Is this the power of a divine bloodline? There was a glint in Lu Ming's eyes and he looked forward to it. At this moment, Long Qianli's body seemed to turn into a beam of light and rushed into his bloodline. Kill! The 3-headed demon snake opened its mouth, and its voice was exactly the same as Long Qianli's. The 3-headed demon snake seemed to have come alive and turned into a real 3-headed demon snake. Bloodline fusion. It was said that those who had awakened a divine bloodline could perform bloodline fusion. Their bodies would merge with their bloodline and turn into their bloodline form, erupting with terrifying combat strength. The 3-headed demon snake's huge claws slapped toward Chaos Fengyun and the others. Let's work together. Chaos Fengyun roared, his eyes filled with horror. A powerful aura erupted from his body as he knocked an arrow and instantly shot out 9 arrows in a line toward the 3-headed demon snake. At the same time, Wang Haotian, Jiang Taiyu, and the others also attacked. Together, they attacked the 3-headed demon snake. Clang! First, the 9 arrows were swatted away by the 3-headed demon snake's claws. The huge claws continued to strike forward. Bang! Bang! Chaos Fengyun, Wang Haotian, and the others all trembled violently and flew out like cannonballs, vomiting blood. In one move, Chaos Fengyun and the others were all injured, and they all looked at Long Qianli in horror. You want to fight me with just the likes of you? You're overestimating yourselves. The 3-headed demon snake spoke in human language and then quickly shrank. In the next moment, it turned back into Long Qianli's appearance and looked fiercely at Chaos Fengyun and the others. Crushing, it was a complete crushing. The onlookers were shocked. Is this the power of a divine bloodline? Bloodline fusion is indeed powerful. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Long Qianli's cultivation should be in the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Although he was higher than Wan Fengyun and the others, it was very difficult for normal prodigies to achieve such a complete suppression. However, Long Qianli completely suppressed them, and no one knew how much power Long Qianli used just now. As one's cultivation increased, the power of the bloodline fusion would become even stronger. Do you still want to fight? Long Qianli glanced at Wan Fengyun and the others, causing their expressions to change greatly. Long Qianli, the god-level prodigies of our three families are not here today. Otherwise, we might not be afraid of you. Luan Fengyun said through gritted teeth. Nonsense. Now, scram. Long Qianli said. Long Qianli, you can take Reverend Lan Jin's successor, but the others belong to us. Wang Haotian said. He still hadn't given up on Lu Ming's token. Long Qianli frowned as he swept Lu Ming and the others with his gaze, and then his gaze descended onto Wan Tingting in the end. He said, "You're the inheritor of Exalt Blue Silver, right? Come with us." No. Lu Ming took a step forward and said in a clear voice. No? You want to stop me? Long Qianli's gaze turned cold. She's my friend. If you want to take her away and take away the inheritance from her soul, you'll have to go through me first. Lu Ming's gaze was extremely firm. Ha ha ha. Unexpectedly, Long Qianli suddenly laughed out loud and said, "So that's what you're worried about? You don't have to. Do you think we're as disgusting as the 6 ancient families? We won't take away her inheritance when we take her back. Instead, we'll nurture her and let her grow stronger." Oh? How can I believe you? Lu Ming said. This is very simple. In history, this lady isn't the only one who has obtained the inheritance of an expert. Those who went to the Di Tian Imperial Guard in the end were all nurtured. Some of them even reached the top of the Di Tian Imperial Guard. No one has ever been robbed of their inheritance. Who doesn't know this? Long Qianli said. Lu Ming, I'll go with them. Wan Tingting walked out of the cave and said, "The Di Tian Imperial Guard has indeed never robbed others of their inheritance." Wan Tingting was very clear that her best option now was to go to the Di Tian Imperial Guard. If she didn't go, the 6 ancient families wouldn't give up and she would even implicate Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming and the rest were also very clear about this. "Young Master Long, I can go with you, but I have a condition." Wan Tingting said. "What condition?" Long Qianli asked. "I want them to leave this place with me. After we leave the 100 Supremes Mountain, I'll let you go." Wan Tingting pointed at Lu Ming and the rest. "No, they have to stay." Wang Haotian suddenly shouted. "Is it your turn to speak?" Long Qianli's eyes suddenly darkened. He glanced at Wang Haotian, causing Wang Haotian's face to turn pale. "For the sake of your friends, all of you are willing to fight until the very end. You fought with all your might against powerful enemies. I admire true chosen and heroes like you the most. Even if you didn't say anything, I would have done the same." "Very well." Long Qianli said loudly. "Lu Ming, let's leave this place together." Wan Tingting looked at Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and the rest. "All right." Lu Ming nodded. Right now, it was better to leave this place and increase his cultivation. Immediately, Lu Ming waved his hand and the sword roar thunderclap formation disappeared. "Let's go." Long Qianli led the way, and Lu Ming and the rest followed Long Qianli and the rest as they flew out. "Damn it!" Wang Haotian roared, his eyes flashing with cold murderous intent. "Humph, inform the family. We can't let these people go easily." Luan Fengyun also said coldly. They sent the news to their families. Lu Ming and the rest quickly left the 100 Supremes Mountain and flew towards the west. The Wang family's dragon vein was at the easternmost side, and the Di Tian Imperial Guard was at the center of Nine Dragon City. It was at least 10 million miles away from here. After flying for a few 100,000 miles, they stopped. "Tingting, we won't send you off. Take care." Kong Jin said reluctantly. "And, you guys too. When I'm done with my cultivation, I'll come back to look for you guys." Wan Tingting said. "Tingting, goodbye." Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing also bid farewell to Wan Tingting. Lu Ming then cupped his fists at Long Qianli and said, "Brother Long, Lu Ming has something to ask. Is there any place in Nine Dragon City that can replenish one's blood essence?" Of course, the 10,000 blood pool is the most suitable place to replenish one's bloodline. That place is a high-grade cultivation sacred ground. You can accumulate bloodline power there, and it's very helpful for awakening your third bloodline. However, you need a token to enter. Long Qianli said. 10,000 blood pool. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Lu Ming, I'll give you this jade talisman. It records some of the cultivation sacred grounds in 9 Dragon City. There are ordinary ones and advanced ones. However, only those who are qualified can enter the advanced cultivation sacred grounds. You can take a look. Chapter 799. Lu Ming received it and said, "Many thanks." "You're welcome. Let's go." Long Qianli smiled and left with the Di Tian Imperial Guard and Wan Tingting. "Fatty, stop looking. She's already gone far." Lu Ming patted Kong Jin's shoulder when he saw that Kong Jin was still staring in the direction Wan Tingting left in. "I didn't expect a fatty like you to be so loyal." Xian Yanqing's lips twitched. "Of course. Don't you know who I am?" A lamb leg appeared in Kong Jin's hand at some point, and he started to chew on it. "Didn't you want me to introduce you to Little Qing's sister?" Lu Ming whispered to Fatty. Fatty immediately straightened his body, and his eyes lit up. "Of course, I have to introduce her. Tingting is Tingting, Little Qing's sister." "That's her sister. It's different." "Shameless. Both of you are shameless. Jackals of the same tribe." Xian Yanqing scolded and glared at Lu Ming. Fatty chuckled and continued to chew on the lamb leg. He asked, "Lu Ming, where are we going now?" "We definitely can't go to the 100 Supremes Mountain. Let's go to the 10,000 blood pool first to save Brother Jian." "Little Qing, Fatty, you guys didn't participate in the 100 Supremes Towers test, right?" Lu Ming asked. 100 Supremes Tower? Xian Yanqing and the Fatty were both puzzled. After passing the 100 Supremes Towers test, you can obtain a token that leads to a higher cultivation ground. With your talent, passing the test shouldn't be a problem. Let's return to the 100 Supremes Mountain first. After you get the token, we'll go to the 10,000 blood pool together. Lu Ming said. The 10,000 blood pool could not only treat Kenfei Ryu, but it could also help them accumulate their bloodline power in preparation for awakening their third bloodline. "Are we going back to the 100 Supremes Mountain in disguise?" Xian Yanqing asked. Lu Ming nodded. "Lu Ming, you guys should stop chatting. You guys are in danger," Dandan suddenly said. Their hearts skipped a beat. "Dandan, what happened?" Lu Ming asked. "You've been targeted as soon as you left the 100 Supremes Mountain. I believe some experts will be here soon," Dandan said. Lu Ming frowned. Dandan's senses were very strong, so it shouldn't be wrong. Who was that? They targeted them as soon as they left the 100 Supremes Mountain. Could they be from the Wang clan or the Luan clan? "Let's go," Lu Ming said. Then, they flew toward a vast mountain. Soon, they landed in a valley. Lu Ming began to inscribe inscriptions in the valley. Lines of inscriptions sank into the ground. A few minutes later, a light screen flashed and enveloped them. Afterward, Lu Ming engraved an array to restrain the aura of himself, Xian Yanqing, and the Fatty, completely concealing their auras. This is an illusion formation. They can't see us from the outside at all. They can only see a pile of rocks. I want to see who wants to kill us," Lu Ming said coldly. Not long after, a loud whistle sounded, and at least a dozen silhouettes flew over. These people were wearing black robes and looked quite old. They were definitely not young. They stopped in the air above the mountain valley and looked around. They should be coming here. What's going on? Why did their aura disappear? Chase them. This time, we can't let them get away. How dare they kill the geniuses of the Shengwan clan? They must die. Also, the elder instructed us to do it secretly. We can't let others know that we're the ones who did it. An old voice was heard. It was filled with cold killing intent. Then, the group split into several groups and chased in different directions. So they're from the Shengguan clan. Killing intent flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. After killing the young, the old came to kill them secretly. This was the style of the big aristocratic families. They were really despicable and shameless. Lu Ming, what are you going to do? Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming. Since they're coming, we'll kill them all at once. Anyway, I'm lacking spirit crystals. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Ha, that's great. Kong Jin laughed. Then, Lu Ming began to inscribe inscription formations. At first, he inscribed a few illusion formations, covering the entire mountain valley. Then, he began to inscribe killing formations. This time, it took Lu Ming a day to inscribe 12 6th-grade formations in the mountain valley. Among them, the Sword Roar Thunder formation was the main one. With the strength of my spirit fire, I can't completely inscribe the Sword Roar Thunder formation. But those people from the Shengguan clan have the highest cultivation. They should be in the 7th layer of the spiritual sea realm. It's enough to kill them. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Let's ask them to come over now. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming removed the formation that concealed their aura and the illusion formation that shrouded them. Suddenly, the three of them were exposed in the mountain valley. Then, the three of them sat cross-legged in the mountain valley and began to cultivate. Powerful aura burst out without any concealment. Tens of thousands of miles away, a few black-robed people were flying. What's going on? We've been searching for so long, but we haven't found those little bastards. Where did they go? Could it be that they're already far away from this place? Someone growled. Calm down. According to the aura detected by the formation plate, they should be in this area. Let's continue to search. An old voice came from the leader. At this moment, the old man suddenly stopped. There's a reaction. The old man was holding a formation plate in his hand. At this moment, there was a point on the formation plate that was glowing. Gather the others. The old man in the lead said. Soon, more than a dozen people gathered from all directions and flew towards Lu Ming's direction. Not long after, they appeared above the mountain valley where Lu Ming's group was. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Kong Jin suddenly opened their eyes. They seemed to be a little surprised and stood up one after another. Everyone, what's the matter? Lu Ming asked pretentiously. We're here to kill you. The old man in the lead said. Kill us? Who are you? Lu Ming's face changed drastically, and Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin also pretended to be shocked. Hee, you don't have to ask about this. Go to the underworld and find out. You guys, go down and kill them. The old man waved his hand, and three black-robed people rushed down. Their aura burst out, and they launched a crazy attack towards Lu Ming's group. However, the three of them didn't activate their bloodline, as if they didn't want to expose their identities. The three of them were all at the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, and their battle prowess was extremely terrifying. That old guy is really cautious. Lu Ming thought. Obviously, the old man in the lead sent out 3 people to test the waters first. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Kong Jin stood together. They didn't want to achieve anything, but they didn't want to make any mistakes, resisting with all their strength. Now wasn't the time to activate the formation. What Lu Ming wanted was to wipe them out in one fell swoop. The 3 of them worked together and cooperated with each other. The 3 experts at the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier couldn't break through their defense at all. Chapter 800. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged more than 100 moves, and it was still hard to determine the winner. These 3 little bastards are really strong. They must be killed. The old man in the lead revealed a shocked expression. Lu Ming and the other 2 were all in the 2nd layer of the spiritual ocean tier, but when the 3 of them worked together, their coordination was flawless. It was really shocking that they could fight against 3 experts in the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. There shouldn't be any problems. Let's attack together and end the battle quickly. If it takes too long, it might attract the attention of others. The old man in the lead spoke. The battle caused quite a commotion. If other experts passed by and exposed their identities, the Shangwan clan would have a hard time explaining to the outside world. At this time, if the younger generation was defeated, they would send the older generation to secretly kill them. Then, how would the geniuses of other large regions dare to come to Nine Dragon City to compete with the geniuses? If they accidentally beat up the geniuses of large aristocratic families and secretly sent the older generation to kill them, then who would dare to come? Kill! Kill! The others shouted coldly and charged into the valley together. The powerful aura and cold killing intent made Lu Ming and the others feel a chill. There were at least 5 experts in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, and their battle prowess completely crushed them. Lu Ming's expression changed drastically, and he roared, "Charge, charge out!" They tried their best to charge out, but the 3 experts in the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier blocked them with all their strength. The next moment, a dozen black-robed people all descended into the valley. "3 little bastards, I'll send you on your way. Remember in your next life to be low-key. Some people can't be offended." The old man in the lead said. "Hee, is that so? In my eyes, your Shangwan clan is really nothing." Lu Ming sneered. The old man's expression changed drastically, and he said, "You know us? I've been waiting for you. Now, let me send you on your way." Lu Ming sneered and took a step forward. Wang! Instantly, the whole valley shone brightly. Dense inscriptions appeared on the ground and walls. Inscriptions of various colors intertwined, dazzling and eye-catching. "Not good, we fell into a trap. Retreat!" The old man roared involuntarily. "Too late, kill!" Lu Ming shouted coldly. Endless sword chi condensed and shot towards the old man and the others. Lu Ming had spent quite a bit of time on this sword chi thunderclap formation. Although he could not unleash its full power, it was still much more powerful than when he had hastily cast it on the 100 Supremes mountain. Moreover, there were 11 other formations to assist him. Vines shot out and wrapped around the Shangwan clan members. Then, sword chi, saber chi, and spear chi slashed at them. Puchi! Puchi! 10 experts in the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier were instantly killed. Only 5 experts in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier were still holding on bitterly, trying to break out, but they couldn't. All kinds of grand formations covered them. The 12 great formations that Lu Ming laid down were not purely offensive formations, but also trapping formations. Soon, the mountain of 5 was drenched in blood. Wounds were inflicted by the sword chi. "Ah, my Shangwan clan will not let you off." The old man in the lead let out an unwilling roar. But soon, they followed in the footsteps of their predecessors and were killed here. 15 experts in the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier and above were all killed. These people have quite a lot of supreme-grade spirit crystals. Let's find a place to cultivate first. Lu Ming said. He grabbed the 15 people's rings of holding, and devoured their blood essences. The blood essence of these 15 people was too strong. He had a feeling that he couldn't control it and urgently needed to find a place to cultivate. Immediately, Lu Ming waved his hand and flames appeared, burning the 15 corpses into ashes. Then, the 3 of them left and flew into the distance. After 200,000 miles, they found a hidden cave and walked in. "You guys check these storage rings. I'm going to cultivate." After saying that, Lu Ming sat cross-legged and refined the blood essence with all his might. Previously, in the battle with the Wang clan, Jiang clan, and Luan clan at the 100 Supremes mountain, he killed 6 experts in the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean tier and refined their blood essence. Lu Ming felt that the prison-suppressing steel bloodline was getting closer and closer to leveling up. He seemed to be able to see the level of the divine bloodline. Lu Ming was refining the blood essence with all his might. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin were also cultivating. The lowest of the 15 martial artists was in the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, and there were 5 in the 7th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. The power of the blood essence was too strong. It was constantly refined and poured into the prison-suppressing steel bloodline. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. This time, the refining process took 3 full days. Buzz! Above Lu Ming's head, the prison-suppressing steel bloodline shook crazily. 9 silver chakras emitted a dazzling light like 9 silver suns. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin both opened their eyes and looked at Lu Ming. Suddenly, their eyes widened and their mouths opened wide. Xian Yanqing was a little better, especially Kong Jin, whose mouth was opened so wide that it could swallow a big lamb leg. The 9 silver chakras on the prison-suppressing steel actually slowly converged towards the bottom. At first, 2 chakras merged together, then 3 chakras merged together. In the end, a total of 9 silver chakras merged together. The moment the 9 silver chakras merged together, it no longer emitted silver light, but golden light. At the same time, the size of the prison-suppressing steel also expanded rapidly, becoming even more majestic and tall. On top of it, there was a desolate, ancient, and heavy aura, as if it came from the ancient times, crossing time and space, giving people a strong pressure. The clouds above also became a little lighter, allowing people to see the lines on the prison-suppressing steel more clearly. A golden chakra surrounded the prison-suppressing steel. The divine bloodline has leveled up, it has leveled up to the divine bloodline. Kong Jin stared blankly, dumbfounded. Xian Yanqing was still okay, because she already knew that Lu Ming's bloodline would level up. Although she was shocked, she didn't lose her composure. Finally, it has leveled up to the divine bloodline. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. In his heart, there was a strange feeling that he could transform into the prison-suppressing steel at any time and suppress all enemies. Thinking of this, he couldn't wait. With a thought, he suddenly felt his body turning into a ray of light, entering the prison-suppressing steel. At this moment, the aura of the prison-suppressing steel increased greatly. An even more strange feeling was born. Lu Ming felt as if he was a prison-suppressing steel. Prison-suppressing heavenly skill. Lu Ming felt that even if he transformed into the prison-suppressing steel, he could still use the prison-suppressing heavenly skill, and the power was much stronger than when he used it. Whoosh! In the next moment, the prison-suppressing steel shrunk and finally turned into Lu Ming's figure, appearing on the ground. Lu Ming, your bloodline can actually level up, amazing, amazing. Chapter 801. Fatty, this is a secret technique that I comprehended from my bloodline. It can devour blood essence and upgrade the bloodline level. Lu Ming said. Fatty's character was unquestionable. For Wan Tingting, he risked his life to fight the Luan family. At the same time, in order not to implicate them, he didn't transmit his voice to them at first. They could be said to have experienced life and death battles, so Lu Ming naturally trusted him. Moreover, if they often traveled together in the future, the matter of his bloodline couldn't be hidden. Therefore, Lu Ming didn't hide the fact that his bloodline had been upgraded. Of course, he also didn't mention the 9 dragons bloodline, but only the secret technique in his bloodline. Bloodline secret technique, amazing, amazing, why don't I have such a powerful secret technique? The fatty pulled a long face. He suddenly stretched out his hands and touched Lu Ming's body. Hey, fatty, what are you doing? I don't have that kind of hobby. Lu Ming stepped back and said. Let me see, let me study it. Fatty's small eyes lit up. Lu Ming directly kicked Fatty, making him fall flat on his face. Fatty, this is the secret of my bloodline. Don't tell anyone. Lu Ming warned. I know, let me study it. Fatty still didn't give up. Get lost. This time, it wasn't Lu Ming who spoke, but Xian Yanqing. She stared at Fatty with an unfriendly gaze, a lotus dancing on her finger. Fatty immediately became obedient and muttered, You only care about your man. You even beat up your friends. I'm so miserable. Xian Yanqing's eyelids twitched, and her face was a little red. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing with a smile, and said, "You've broken through to the third layer of the spiritual ocean tier." He discovered that Xian Yanqing and the fatty had both made breakthroughs in the past few days. He had been refining the blood essence with all his strength, but he also felt it halfway. Yes. Xian Yanqing nodded. It's useless even if I broke through. I still can't beat a monster like you. You actually managed to upgrade your bloodline to the divine level. Once your bloodline fuses, how am I supposed to fight you? Fatty muttered. Then you guys have to awaken your third bloodline as soon as possible. Let's go. We'll return to the 100 Supremes Mountain now. You guys can challenge the 100 Supremes Tower and obtain the tokens. After that, we'll head to the blood pool together. Lu Ming said. However, they naturally wouldn't return like this. Instead, they would change their appearances. At their level, changing their appearance and body was a very simple matter. As long as they could control their muscles and bones, it was very easy. The main thing was their aura. No matter how they changed their appearance and bones, their aura would not change. However, this was simple. Lu Ming directly engraved a formation on the three of them to restrain their auras. Since he couldn't change it, he just had to keep it in check. The three of them changed their appearances and bodies, changed their clothes, and flew towards the 100 Venerables Mountain. Half a day later, they returned to the 100 Supremes Mountain and headed straight for the 100 Supremes Tower. Below the 100 Masters Tower, there were still a few people watching. At this moment, someone was challenging the tower. However, the highest one was only on the 6th floor. Not long after, everyone failed. When the light on the 6th floor dimmed, Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin rushed into the 100 Supremes Tower. There were also a few other people who followed them. Lu Ming stood there and watched. He wasn't worried. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin's wills were very strong. They had comprehended it to a very deep level. Moreover, they had fused the two wills together. It shouldn't be a problem for them to pass the 100 Supremes Tower. Rumble. At this moment, a violent sonic boom came from the sky. A blazing aura spread down and a figure covered in purple flames flew over rapidly. Boom! With a loud boom, a figure landed on the ground. The blazing aura came wave after wave. Lu Ming looked over. Then, a murderous intent flashed in his eyes. That person was actually Wang Haotian. Get lost! Wang Haotian shouted coldly and strode forward. The others hurriedly retreated, giving the best position to Wang Haotian. However, Lu Ming stood still and did not move. You're not retreating. Wang Haotian looked coldly at Lu Ming. Wang Haotian had been in a bad mood for the past few days. He brought Wang Kong and Kenfei Ryu with him, intending to get the token of a higher cultivation holy land from Lu Ming. In the end, not only did he not get the token, but Wang Kong also died and he was injured. Because of this, he was even scolded by the elders in his family. In the past few days, he had treated his injuries and planned to challenge the 100 Supremes Tower again, hoping to get the token. Now, he asked the others to get lost, but they didn't. Were they not giving him face? Wang Haotian's heart was burning with anger. Lu Ming's lips curled into a sneer as he looked at Wang Haotian coldly. His original plan was to go to the blood pool and save Kenfei Ryu. Then, he would go to another cultivation holy land to cultivate for a period of time and improve his cultivation. Then, he would find an opportunity to kill Wang Haotian. However, he didn't expect Wang Haotian to deliver himself to him. Lu Ming didn't mind making a move now. Seeing that Lu Ming dared to look at him like that, the anger in Wang Haotian's heart burned even more. Brat, how dare you stare at me with such a gaze? Today, there's no need for your eyes to exist. Wang Haotian emitted a cold murderous intent. At this moment, the 100 Supremes Tower lit up one by one. Soon, the 5th floor lit up, and in the next moment, the 6th floor also lit up. Lu Ming knew that it wouldn't take long for Xian Yanqing and the others to reach the 9th floor. Since that was the case, he would get rid of Wang Haotian. Wang Haotian, I said that I will kill you. Have you forgotten so quickly? Lu Ming curled his lips and said coldly. Hearing Lu Ming's voice, Wang Haotian's expression suddenly changed, and he said, "It's you, Lu Ming." The bones in Lu Ming's body moved, and in the next moment, he returned to his original appearance. "Ha ha ha, it's really you, Lu Ming. I didn't expect that you would dare to come back and show yourself in front of me. Good, good, this time, I'll see who can save you." Wang Haotian's face was filled with ecstasy. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that Lu Ming was still in the 100 Supremes mountain. He had thought that Lu Ming had already left and headed to a higher level of cultivation. Moreover, Lu Ming didn't have any companions by his side, which made him even happier. "What are you so happy about? You weren't my opponent back then. Why would I need anyone to save me?" Lu Ming sneered. "Back then, you only relied on the formation. Today, I won't give you a chance. Kill." After saying that, Wang Haotian suddenly exploded, and a blazing aura spread out. He used his full strength as soon as he attacked. He wanted to completely suppress Lu Ming with a violent attack, so that he wouldn't have a chance to inscribe inscriptions. "Why would I need inscriptions against you?" Lu Ming smirked and lashed out with his palm. Bang! In the next moment, Wang Haotian's figure shuddered violently, and the flames on his body flickered. He was knocked backward rapidly and almost spat out a mouthful of blood. How could this be? How did your attack become so much stronger? Chapter 802. He unleashed his full strength, but he was actually pushed back by Lu Ming's palm. Lu Ming was clearly still at the 2nd level of the spiritual ocean realm, the same as a few days ago. Why did his attack suddenly increase so much? Lu Ming's palm seemed to have the power to suppress everything. It was extremely terrifying. "I said, I don't need inscriptions to kill you. Kill!" Lu Ming's killing intent burst out. He strode out, his palm like a heavenly monument, and slashed at Wang Haotian. The suppressing Hell Heaven skill would become more and more powerful as the suppressing Hell Steel bloodline upgraded. When the suppressing Hell Steel bloodline upgraded to the divine level, the power of the suppressing Hell Heaven skill was directly equivalent to the 6th level of the demigod level martial skill, the highest level. Its power was more than 10 times stronger than before. Although there was no change in Lu Ming's cultivation level, his combat ability had improved tremendously. Wang Haotian was shocked and furious. He unleashed his full strength to resist desperately, but he was still completely suppressed by Lu Ming. He was bombarded back and forth, coughing up blood. At the bottom of the tower, the other people were even more dumbfounded. A few days ago, Lu Ming almost single-handedly stopped the 9 geniuses of the 3 aristocratic families, shocking the 100 Supremes mountain. They never thought that the person standing beside them just now was Lu Ming. And now, Lu Ming even unleashed a terrifying battle strength. He did not use the path of inscription. He suppressed Wang Haotian with pure battle strength, leaving Wang Haotian with no power to fight back. In just a few days, how could Lu Ming's battle strength increase so much? Bang! Lu Ming struck out with his palm. One of Wang Haotian's arms cracked, and the bones were broken. He spat out blood and flew back. He was no match for Lu Ming at all. "Lu Ming, just you wait." Wang Haotian roared and turned to run. Lu Ming chased with a sneer. After 1,000 miles, Lu Ming suddenly sped up and blocked in front of Wang Haotian. "There's no one now, so I can kill you." Lu Ming's eyes were cold. "You want to kill me? Although your battle strength is stronger than mine, you want to kill me? Dream on." Wang Haotian roared. "Really?" The sneer at the corner of Lu Ming's mouth deepened. The next moment, whang! The prison-suppressing steel appeared above Lu Ming's head. The bright golden light almost blinded Wang Haotian's eyes. His eyes almost popped out of their sockets as he roared in disbelief, "Divine bloodline. you've awakened a divine bloodline. His voice was filled with shock, jealousy, hatred, and fear. He wanted to use the medallion to enter the 10,000 blood pool, accumulate bloodline power, awaken his divine-grade bloodline, and become a divine-grade prodigy. But now, Lu Ming was the first to succeed in his dream. How could he not be jealous? He was also terrified because he knew how terrifying a god-tier bloodline was. Run! Without thinking, he turned around and fled. It's too late to run now. Lu Ming's body turned into light and entered the prison-suppressing steel's bloodline. Wang! The prison-suppressing steel's bloodline vibrated and instantly pierced through the layers of space. It was like an ancient divine mountain that suppressed Wang Haotian. Wang Haotian had nowhere to run. The terrifying pressure made him extremely terrified. All of his attacks and defenses were useless in front of the prison-suppressing steel. They instantly collapsed. No, my sister will avenge me. Wang Haotian roared, then his voice stopped abruptly. Under the suppression of the prison-suppressing steel, Wang Haotian was torn into pieces and died on the spot. The prison-suppressing steel shrank and turned back into Lu Ming's figure. With a wave of his hand, he put away Wang Haotian's storage ring and devoured his blood essence. Then, flames appeared and turned Wang Haotian's body into ashes. In a flash, Lu Ming left and returned to the bottom of the 100 Masters Pagoda. Of course, he had changed his figure again. At this time, the 8th floor of the 100 Masters Pagoda had lit up. The few people at the bottom of the pagoda did not even realize that he had returned. They were just staring blankly at the 100 Masters Pagoda. They were naturally shocked that someone had reached the 8th floor. The 9th floor has lit up. Someone suddenly exclaimed. It's really the 9th floor. Someone has reached the 9th floor again. Is it one of those two? A woman and a fatty? Everyone else has come out. Only the two of them are left. Amazing. The other side. Lu Ming smiled slightly. In the Wang family, where the dragon vein was located, there was a chain of volcanoes. The volcanoes erupted all year round. As this was the land of the dragon vein, the temperature of the volcanoes here was frighteningly high. It was 100 times hotter than ordinary volcanoes. Suddenly, an angry roar came from one of the volcanoes. In the next moment, a firebird completely made of flames flew out of the volcano and transformed into a beautiful woman. However, the woman's body was filled with incomparably cold killing intent. The blazing flames seemed to be able to burn through the world. Haotian, who killed you? Sister will definitely let the person who killed you suffer the most painful torture in the world. The woman spat out cold and ruthless killing intent. She raised her hand. There was a jade token in her palm. The words Wang Haotian were written on it. However, the jade token was already in pieces. That was Wang Haotian's life token. When the life token was broken, it meant that he was dead. There were other members of the Wang family cultivating in the volcanoes. At that moment, a voice was heard. What happened? Wang Haotian is going crazy. I don't know. Did something happen to Wang Haotian? It's not a small matter when a god-tier prodigy goes crazy. This is not something we can interfere with. Soon, the voice fell silent. Wang Haotian's figure flashed. Soon, she appeared in Wang Haotian's courtyard. After a while, Wang Haotian left Wang Haotian's courtyard and flew toward 100 Supremes Mountain. 100 Supremes Mountain, 100 Supremes Tower. Lu Ming looked up at the 9th floor. Suddenly, the 9 layers of light dimmed, and all of the light disappeared. Soon, the 100 Supremes Tower flashed. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin appeared in the air at the same time and descended. The gazes of the others all fell on them. How is it? Lu Ming asked. Of course, there won't be a problem with me taking action. Kong Jin grinned. Xian Yanqing also nodded. It was obvious that both of them had obtained the tokens. Alright, let's leave this place immediately and leave 100 Supremes Mountain. Lu Ming said. He did not know why, but he had a bad feeling in his heart. It was as if danger was about to befall them. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin nodded. The three of them turned into 3 rays of light and left the place. They quickly headed toward the exit. Soon, they exited the exit and flew toward the west. Their destination was the blood pool. Not long after they left, Wang Haoxian arrived and rushed into 100 Supremes Mountain. Wang Haoxian, the god-tier prodigy. Why is she here? An old man guarding the entrance asked in surprise. Below the 100 Supremes Tower, a few young men were still in shock. They were shocked that 2 of them had reached the 9th floor. They wondered if the 2 of them had obtained the tokens. Who were they? They were so powerful. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying pressure descended. A cold killing intent mixed with a blazing aura pressed down on their bodies. Their bodies trembled and they knelt on the ground. Chapter 803. Wang Haoxian, the God-level genius. Someone recognized Wang Haoxian and shouted in fear. The others were even more shocked. The 100 Supremes Mountain was just an ordinary cultivation sacred ground. God-level geniuses would not come here if they had a better place to cultivate. Why did Wang Haoxian suddenly come here? They thought of Wang Haotian. Wang Haoxian was Wang Haotian's sister. Earlier, they saw Lu Ming chasing after Wang Haotian. Later, Lu Ming changed his appearance and returned to the same place, leaving with the other 2 people who had passed the 9th floor. Could something have happened to Wang Haotian? Otherwise, why would Wang Haoxian come here with killing intent? Lu Ming. Lu Ming. Suddenly, they remembered who the other 2 people were. Lu Ming had a few companions. One of them was a beautiful woman, and the other was a fat man. They were all people with terrifying talents. It was not difficult to guess who the other 2 people who had passed the 9th floor were. Tell me, did my brother, Wang Haotian, come here before? Did he have a conflict with anyone? Don't try to lie to me. Wang Haoxian said coldly. The killing intent on her body became stronger and stronger. Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. Someone shouted. Wang Haotian came here before and fought with Lu Ming. In the end, Lu Ming chased after him and he fled this place. No one knows where he went. Another person also shouted. Lu Ming. Who's Lu Ming? What does he look like? Tell me in detail. Wang Haoxian said coldly. I'll tell you. They came here to get a token to a higher sacred ground. He has 2 companions. One of them is a beautiful woman, and the other is a fat man with a battle axe. Immediately, one of the young men told Wang Haoxian everything he knew. How dare you kill my brother? No one can save you. If you want to go to a high-tier sacred ground to cultivate, I'll kill you on the way. Wang Haoxian's cold voice sounded, and her figure disappeared. The young men let out a long sigh of relief. Being beside Wang Haoxian, the pressure was too great. It was as if they could be killed by her at any time. Lu Ming really killed Wang Haotian. This is really big news. No wonder Wang Haoxian went crazy. Interesting. After that, the young men left the place. The news of Lu Ming possibly killing Wang Haotian and Wang Haoxian chasing after Lu Ming had already spread out, causing a huge uproar in the 100 Supremes Mountain. In the outer circle of 9 Dragon City, 9 dragon veins circled around. In the middle, 3 dragon veins gathered together. They were all very far apart from each other. In these areas, there were many wonderful places. There were cultivation holy lands, secret realms, and dangerous forbidden areas. The 10,000 blood pool was located between the dragon vein in the east and the 3 dragon veins in the middle. After flying for a few hours, Lu Ming and the other 2 arrived at a vast mountain range. According to the jade talisman that Long Qianli gave me, the blood pool should be right in front of us. Lu Ming said. The 3 of them continued to fly forward. A huge mountain appeared in front of them. On top of the mountain, there was a bloody aura. On a cliff, there were 3 big words, 10,000 blood pool. Beside the 3 big words, there was a platform that protruded from the cliff. Behind it, there was a cave. On the platform, there were strong practitioners guarding it. This was the blood pool. Stop right there. Only those who are qualified can enter the 10,000 blood pool. When Lu Ming and the other two approached, a burly man stepped out. A terrifying aura spread out. He was definitely a strong practitioner who was above the spirit embryo realm. Senior, we have tokens. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Kong Jin flashed their tokens. The middle-aged burly man looked at them and nodded. It is indeed a token. You are qualified to enter the blood pool. However, you have to leave your aura here because each person can only enter the blood pool once. Lu Ming and the others nodded. This rule was also introduced in Long Qianli's Jade Talisman. Some high-grade cultivation sacred grounds had very strict restrictions. Each person could only enter the blood pool once and leave their aura here. If they came again in the future, they would be able to detect it. The three of them left their aura on a stone tablet. Go in. Remember, do what you can and don't die in there. Also, you only have half a month. You must come out after half a month. The middle-aged burly man instructed. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming cupped his fists. Then, the three of them walked into the cave. The middle-aged burly man continued to sit cross-legged at the side. The cave was very deep. After the three of them walked for 1,000 meters, the cave suddenly opened up. The inside of the mountain was empty. There was a huge blood pool. The blood pool was at least a few thousand meters long. It was filled with blood-red liquid. It looked like fresh blood, but there was no smell of blood. At this moment, Lu Ming felt a slight numbness coming from his spine. It was under the Nine Dragons bloodline and the Suppressing Prison Monument bloodline. What a rich bloodline power! Kong Jin exclaimed. It is said that the blood pool is infinitely deep. No one knows where it leads to. The bloodline power surges out from the depths of the pool. It is very mysterious. Moreover, although the blood pool contains the power of bloodline, it also contains an ancient baleful aura and killing intent that is extremely powerful. The deeper we go, the more powerful it is. We have to be careful. Let's go down. Lu Ming said. You be careful too. Xian Yanqing whispered. The fatty nodded. Then, the three of them jumped into the 10,000 blood pool. Kill! Roar! After Lu Ming jumped into the blood pool, there were shocking roars from all directions. There were also the roars of ferocious beasts and demonic beasts. Endless killing intent rushed toward Lu Ming. This killing intent could affect one's mind. If it was strong enough, it could even destroy one's soul and wipe out one's life force. However, at the same time, the blood-red liquid in all directions contained powerful and majestic bloodline power. This liquid was not blood, nor was it blood essence. Instead, it was formed by the power of one's bloodline. There was a flash of red light at Lu Ming's spine, forming a vortex. The endless power of the bloodline in the surroundings was absorbed into the vortex and integrated into the spine. This bloodline power could be accumulated in his spine. The more it was accumulated, the higher the grade of the bloodline he would awaken in the future. Although Lu Ming had the Nine Dragons bloodline and could devour blood essence to improve, if his third bloodline awakened to a higher grade, it would save him a lot of trouble in the future. Why not? The bloodline power here was not strong enough. Deeper. With a thought, Lu Ming went deeper into the pool. The deeper he went, the stronger the bloodline power. However, the killing intent in the surroundings were also stronger. Where did this bloodline energy come from? Where did the depths of the 10,000 blood pool lead to? There was actually bloodline energy gushing out unceasingly. Could it be that it led to a battlefield? Lu Ming let his imagination run wild. There were many mysterious places in the heavens and earth. Even martial dominator realm experts could not find the answers to some of them. Chapter 804. I don't know if Brother Jian can withstand it. Lu Ming muttered to himself and decided to release Kenfei Ryu so that he could absorb the bloodline power to recover. With a wave of his hand, Kenfei Ryu's figure appeared and floated in the air. Brother Jian's bloodline won't absorb the bloodline power around him. After a while, Lu Ming realized that Kenfei Ryu's spine would not absorb the bloodline power. Let me give him a hand. Lu Ming channeled his true origin and controlled the bloodline power to pour into Kenfei Ryu's spine. However, the bloodline power dissipated quickly and was not absorbed. How can this be? Could it be that Brother Jian is dying and has lost his consciousness and can't absorb the bloodline power? What should I do? Lu Ming's eyes were filled with anxiety. If he could not absorb the bloodline power, how could he save Kenfei Ryu? Lu Ming, let me do it. I have a way to let the bloodline power automatically seep into his spine. Although it's a little slow, it's more or less useful. Dandan appeared on Lu Ming's shoulder and said. Really? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Nonsense, what I know is not something you can imagine. When I fully recover, don't cry and beg me to be your master. Dandan said proudly. Dandan then flew in front of Kenfei Ryu and waved its claws continuously. Inscriptions entered Kenfei Ryu's body. Then, it waved its little claws and guided the bloodline power around Kenfei Ryu's spine, slowly seeping in. It's really useful. Lu Ming was relieved. What is this? Get lost. Just as Lu Ming was about to focus on absorbing the bloodline power, Dandan suddenly let out an angry cry. What's going on? Lu Ming was shocked. Lu Ming, something is invading Kenfei Ryu's body. I can sense it, but I can't stop it. Dandan shouted. What? Something? What's in the blood pool? Lu Ming was shocked. My cultivation is crippled and my bloodline is exhausted. I have to start anew. A loud laugh suddenly came from Kenfei Ryu's body. It was full of excitement. Lu Ming was shocked and shouted, Who are you? Get out of Brother Jian's body. Who am I? It's just a wisp of remnant soul. It was supposed to be an eternal slumber, but it was awakened by this brat. Jian Filiu's voice rang out again. At the same time, a blood-red light filled the air. Remnant soul? Are you trying to take over his body? SSSSSSSTS. At this time, Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin also rushed over. Lu Ming, what's going on? Xian Yanqing asked. There's a remnant soul here that wants to possess you, Brother Jian. Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin were both shocked. Possession? Little fellow, you really think too highly of me. All that's left of me is a wisp of remnant soul that can turn to ash at any moment. How can I possess someone? It's just that this little fellow is suitable to inherit my legacy. The voice from Kenfei Ryu's body sounded. How can I believe your words? Lu Ming's gaze was cold. Little guy, even if you don't believe me, you have to believe me. As the laughter rang out, Kenfei Ryu's body glowed with a bloody light as he suddenly plummeted rapidly. Stop! Lu Ming was greatly alarmed and chased after him. However, the resistance in the 10,000 blood pool was very strong. Lu Ming's speed was far slower than Kenfei Ryu's falling body. Lu Ming chased after him for 2,000 meters, but Kenfei Ryu's body was getting further and further down. Kill, kill! Endless murderous intent surged from all around. Lu Ming's face turned pale. The deeper he went, the more intense the surrounding murderous aura and murderous intent. Even with Lu Ming's wisdom, it was extremely difficult to withstand it. After a few more breaths, Kenfei Ryu's body completely disappeared, sinking into the endless 10,000 blood pool. Damn it! Lu Ming roared angrily. Lu Ming, this isn't your fault. Xian Yanqing swam over and said. Her face was also a little pale. The fatty also swam over, but he didn't say much. Lu Ming, maybe that voice is right. That's just a wisp of remnant soul that can't take over. Maybe it's really looking for a successor. Dandan frowned and said. Are you confident? Lu Ming asked. No. Dandan shook his head. Lu Ming wanted to throw Dandan out. Xiao Qing, fatty, wait for me here. I'll go down and take a look. After saying that, Lu Ming continued to dive. The killing intent in the surroundings was getting stronger and stronger. The terrifying killing intent had already made Lu Ming's soul tremble. Lu Ming dived another 1,000 meters. The killing intent here had reached a terrifying level. Not only could it obliterate one's soul, but it could also obliterate one's physical body. Lu Ming felt a tearing pain in his body and a stabbing pain in his soul. Unfortunately, Kenfei Ryu's figure was still nowhere to be seen. Damn it! Lu Ming was somewhat unwilling, but he couldn't continue. If he did, he would be in danger. Helpless, Lu Ming could only go up. He never imagined that he would end up like this when he came to the blood pool to save Kenfei Ryu. He could only hope that Kenfei Ryu was fine. Lu Ming, this might be a fortuitous encounter for Kenfei Ryu. You don't have to blame yourself. Xie Nianqing advised. Lu Ming said, don't worry, I'm fine. Let's continue to accumulate bloodline power. The three of them went up and found a suitable place to absorb bloodline power. After getting used to it, they continued to dive. The deeper they went, the stronger the bloodline power became. Time passed day by day. The bloodline power accumulated in Lu Ming's spine grew stronger and stronger. A blood-red light flickered, as if something powerful was about to be born. Half a day after they entered the blood pool, Wang Haoxian also came to the blood pool. Wang Haoxian, you've already entered the blood pool and awakened a divine bloodline. The blood pool is already useless to you. Why are you still here? The middle-aged man opened his eyes and looked at Wang Haoxian. Senior, I'm here to ask you about a few people. There are 3 of them. One of them is a fatty, and the other is a beauty. Wang Haoxian described the appearances of Lu Ming's group. They entered the blood pool half a day ago. If you want to find them, you can only wait for them to come out. After saying that, the middle-aged man closed his eyes. They're really here. A cold murderous intent flashed in Wang Haoxian's eyes. He retreated and sat down cross-legged on another mountain dozens of miles away from the blood pool, waiting here. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. The time was up. They had to leave. The 3 of them rushed out of the blood pool and stood beside it. Lu Ming discovered that Xie Nianqing and Kong Jin's spines were emitting a shocking fluctuation, as if something was about to break out. However, after a while, the blood-red aura slowly withdrew, and the fluctuation in their spines slowly disappeared. It was the same for Lu Ming. His spine was concealed as well. Chapter 805. It was the same for Xie Nianqing and Kong Jin. Their third bloodline had not awakened either. They had accumulated a lot of bloodline power, but they still had not awakened. Lu Ming looked at the blood pool and sighed softly. Then, he strode outside. There was still no news of Kenfei Ryu. It seemed that he had sunk into the endless depths of the blood pool. The 3 of them walked out of the cave, rose into the air, and flew toward the center of 9 dragons. Their next step was to go to another high-level cultivation sacred ground, the Sky Vault Legacy Grounds. It was said that there were many god-level prodigies cultivating there. The moment the 3 of them walked out of the cave, a figure shot into the sky dozens of miles away and chased after Lu Ming and the others. After flying for a few hundred miles, the trio suddenly stopped at the same time. This was because they realized that there was a cold murderous intent behind them that was spreading toward them. Whoosh! A purple light cut through the void and appeared in front of them in an instant. It was a beautiful woman, but her eyes were very cold. The murderous intent on her body was also very cold. She's from the Wang family. Lu Ming frowned. You're Lu Ming. Wang Haoxian's gaze fell on Lu Ming. That's right. Lu Ming said. His frown deepened. This was because he could sense an extremely dangerous aura from this lady. Very well. Did you kill my brother, Wang Haotian? Wang Haotian said coldly. Wang Haotian is your brother? Lu Ming said. He suddenly remembered that before Wang Haotian died, he shouted that his sister would avenge him. Tell me, did you kill him? Wang Haotian said sternly. Her murderous intent was even colder. Beauty, it's fine that I killed him, but your brother deserved it. If you want to avenge him, we'll accept it. Kong Jin said loudly. Good, very good. The three of you will be buried with my brother. Terrifying flames rose from Wang Haotian's body, and a powerful aura erupted. Kill! Wang Haotian was incomparably violent. He punched out, and a fiery fist light bombarded towards Lu Ming. In the sky, it directly burned a vacuum passage. Lu Ming's pupils shrank. This punch gave him a lot of pressure. Without the slightest hesitation, Lu Ming erupted with his full strength, circulating the suppressing hell heavenly art, and punched out. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion rang out. Lu Ming felt an unparalleled force rushing towards him. His body retreated rapidly as he spat out a mouthful of blood. Sizzle, at the same time, there was a terrifying flame burning on his fist, and a burnt smell wafted out. Lu Ming erupted with 4 different concepts and true essence, resisting with all his strength. Only then was he able to block the burning flames. So strong! Lu Ming was shocked. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, he was actually injured by the other party in one move. The other party's combat strength was terrifying to the extreme. Peak of the 5th layer of the spiritual C tier. This was the cultivation that Wang Haotian displayed. But Lu Ming firmly believed that ordinary 5th layer spirit C realm geniuses would never have such strong combat strength to completely crush him. Die! Wang Haotian's eyes were cold, and he continued to attack Lu Ming. Don't even think about it. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin attacked at the same time. Xian Yanqing pressed his hands, and the sky demon power field erupted. The destructive cutting power rushed towards Wang Haotian crazily. And Kong Jin, carrying the battle axe, rushed into the sky demon power field. The battle axe seemed to be able to split the sky as it chopped towards Wang Haotian. Watch out! Lu Ming exclaimed. Wang Haotian didn't even look, and directly punched out towards Kong Jin's battle axe. Dang! The punch hit the battle axe, and a loud sound like a bell rang out. The fatty screamed, and his body retreated rapidly. His fat body trembled crazily, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with shock. Boom! Then, Wang Haotian's delicate body shook, and purple flames spread out, burning Xian Yanqing's destructive cutting power. Yes, even the destructive cutting power was burned away. Then, he punched out, and the roaring flame fist radiance was aimed at Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing's face changed, and he used the sky demon hand. A beautiful arm formed and blasted towards Wang Haotian's fist radiance. Boom! The result was the same as before. Xian Yanqing was sent flying back, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Although Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin had broken through to the 3rd layer of the Spirit Sea realm, they were still crushed. Let's attack together. He's a god-level genius. Lu Ming flashed over and stood side by side with Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin, looking extremely serious. He thought of a person on the list of top 1,000 talents. Wang Haotian, a god-level genius ranked 293rd on the list of top 1,000 talents. Her name was so close to Wang Haotian's, so she should be Wang Haotian's sister. Kill! Wang Haotian was very domineering. Her body was covered in purple flames as she stepped forward. Sky Demon Force Field, Destructive Cutting. Xian Yanqing shouted and pressed her hand, and the destructive cutting power enveloped Wang Haotian. At the same time, Lu Ming and Kong Jin rushed into the Sky Demon Force Field and attacked Wang Haotian together. 4 colored wills intertwined, and the Battle Dragon's genuine origin was completely unleashed. His spiritual sea was boiling, and a powerful devouring power burst out from his left palm, enveloping Wang Haoxian. Kong Jin roared, and his fat body swelled again. The earth wills and shattering wills merged and burst out, destroying everything. His battle axe turned into a black light and chopped at Wang Haoxian. At the same time, Xian Yanqing used the sky demon lotus. A black lotus appeared, and the petals of the lotus were like the sharpest weapons, attacking Wang Haoxian. At this moment, the three of them used their strongest attacks at the same time. They dared not be careless in the face of a god-level genius. Sunset Heavenly Fist. Wang Haoxian's fists glowed, and flames burned as she punched out 3 times in a row. With one punch, Xian Yanqing's lotus was shattered, and the destructive cutting force field collapsed. Xian Yanqing's body trembled, and she retreated madly, blood flowing out of her mouth. With another punch, Kong Jin was sent flying, and the battle axe in his hand trembled non-stop. Especially the fat guy's arm, where blue veins popped out and blood seeped out. Even his palm was deformed. Lu Ming was slightly better, but he was also sent flying 1,000 meters. He spat out a mouthful of blood and felt a sharp pain in his palm, almost breaking his bones. Strong, too strong. The three of them were still injured in an instant. Wang Haoxian had almost no weaknesses. Compared to Wang Haoxian, Lu Ming had almost no advantage in any aspect. First of all, his cultivation base was 3 levels lower than Wang Haoxian. Lu Ming had a god-level bloodline, and so did Wang Haoxian. Lu Ming had the suppressing hell art, a demigod bloodline martial skill, and Wang Haoxian had also mastered a demigod bloodline martial skill. It was said that any bloodline martial skill comprehended from a god-level bloodline would be at least demigod level. Moreover, Wang Haoxian's martial skill was also a god-level martial skill, the Burning Sky Art. The Burning Sky Art's temperature was too high, and it could burn everything. To fight against it, one had to use a large amount of true yuan to resist its burning power. In terms of mentality, Wang Haoxian's mentality of heaven and earth evolved from the mentality of fire. It was extremely powerful, and it had reached the peak of level 2. Although Lu Ming had comprehended 4 mentalities, they were too low level. Even if he used 4 mentalities, he would not be much stronger than Wang Haoxian. Lu Ming's only advantage was that he had cultivated the Super Spirit Sea secret technique, and his true yuan was abundant. His god-level martial skill was also more mature than Wang Haoxian's, and his mentality was a bit stronger. These could make up for the gap of 1 level. However, Wang Haoxian's cultivation base was 3 levels higher than Lu Ming's. Therefore, there was still a 2-level gap between Lu Ming and Wang Haoxian. Chapter 806. Your combat strength is not bad. No wonder my brother died in your hands. But against me, you won't stand a chance. Die! Wang Haoxian's cold voice was filled with killing intent. Boom! The prison-suppressing steel appeared above Lu Ming's head. The golden chakra emitted a dazzling golden light. Wang Haoxian's pupils shrank as she said coldly, "So you have awakened a god-grade bloodline. All the more reason to kill you." As soon as her voice fell, a purple flame appeared above Wang Haoxian's head. As soon as the purple flame appeared, the surrounding space turned into a black zone. It was a phenomenon that even space was about to be burned through. At the same time, a golden chakra surrounded the purple flame, shining brightly. Level 1 God-grade bloodline. In the next moment, the purple flame twisted and turned into a purple firebird. It let out a cry. Wang Haoxian's body turned into a ray of light and rushed into the purple firebird. The purple firebird flapped its wings and turned into a purple light, pouncing towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming also merged with his bloodline. The prison-suppressing steel shook as if it could suppress everything. It suppressed the firebird that Wang Haoxian transformed into. The purple firebird clawed at the prison-suppressing steel. Boom! There was a loud explosion as a force shot towards the ground. 2 mountains exploded and turned into ashes. Similarly, a wisp of flame fell and burned a mountain into ashes. The space shook and the prison-suppressing steel was sent flying like a meteor. It flew back a few thousand meters in an instant. In the process of flying, the prison-suppressing steel turned back into Lu Ming's body and vomited blood. The terrifying thing was that the blood that he vomited immediately burned fiercely. Lu Ming's body was invaded by a powerful flame. It was as if his body was about to be burned into ashes. Bang! His retreating body crashed into a mountain. The mountain exploded and Lu Ming fell among the rubble. Wang Haoxian was too strong. The gap between Lu Ming and her was unbridgeable. Lu Ming! Xian Yanqing exclaimed and was extremely worried. You should worry about yourself first. The purple firebird spoke and turned into a ray of light, pouncing towards Xian Yanqing. Be careful. Empty entry was now in front of Xian Yanqing, and a huge shield appeared in his hand, blocking in front of him. Wang Haoxian's claw slammed into the shield, causing it to shatter. Kong Jin let out a miserable shriek as his body was sent flying far away. Wang Haoxian continued to grab Xian Yanqing. A bronze mirror appeared in front of Xian Yanqing. The bronze mirror emitted a green light. Clang! Wang Haoxian's claw landed on the bronze mirror, causing it to tremble violently. It let out a wailing sound as it flew into Xian Yanqing's forehead. As for Xian Yanqing, he was sent flying far away. The firebird cried out, wanting to continue attacking. Bang! Gravel flew everywhere and Lu Ming dashed out from the rubble. There was lightning flowing in the area between his eyebrows. If you're not dead yet, I'll kill you first. Wang Haoxian said in a cold voice. He flapped his wings and rushed towards Lu Ming. Clang! A melodious sound rang out. A lightning cauldron flew out from Lu Ming's forehead. It grew rapidly until it was as big as a mountain and suppressed Wang Haoxian. The lightning cauldron's power was boundless. By the time Wang Haoxian realized that something was wrong and wanted to dodge, it was already too late. Boom! The huge lightning cauldron slammed into the firebird. The firebird that Wang Haoxian had transformed into was instantly shattered, turning into wisps of purple flames that drifted in all directions. After the lightning cauldron attacked, it shrunk rapidly and flew back into Lu Ming's forehead. Lu Ming's face was pale as he spat out a mouthful of blood. He couldn't control his body and fell. Fortunately, Dandan caught him. Swish! Swish! Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin flew over. However, their breathing was chaotic and they were heavily injured. Are you alright? Xian Yanqing supported Lu Ming and asked worriedly. I'm fine. Lu Ming nodded. After using the lightning cauldron, his Zhenyuan was extracted and his lifespan was reduced by 50 years. His body was extremely weak. Look! Kong Jin suddenly exclaimed. Lu Ming and the others looked forward and saw that the purple flames that were scattered by the lightning cauldron had reformed in the air. The next moment, the flames turned into Wang Haoxian's body. Wang Haoxian didn't die under the lightning cauldron's attack. However, Wang Haoxian was also severely injured. She coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood. Her face was extremely pale and her breathing was extremely weak. Kong Jin stepped forward, holding a battle axe and staring at Wang Haoxian. If they wanted to fight, they could only risk their lives. However, Wang Haoxian only looked at them coldly and said in a cold voice, I won't let you off. After saying that, he turned into a ray of fire and flew into the distance. He retreated. Let's leave this place quickly and find a place to heal. Wang Haoxian won't let this go. Lu Ming said. He could see the bone-deep killing intent in Wang Haoxian's eyes. Wang Haoxian must have retreated temporarily to find a place to heal. Once her injuries were healed, she would definitely chase after them. Therefore, they also had to find a place to heal their injuries. If Wang Haoxian's injuries were not healed, it would be even more difficult for them. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin supported Lu Ming and flew into the distance. They landed 10,000 miles away. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin were also very seriously injured. If they continued to fly, they would not be able to hold on for long. They planned to heal their injuries here. In a cave, the three of them sat cross-legged. Lu Ming ran the battle strength scripture with all his strength. Half a day later, he cultivated a new wisp of vital essence. With a wisp of vital essence, Lu Ming began to devour spirit crystals to quickly replenish his vital essence. At the same time, Lu Ming also needed to circulate his vital essence to heal his injured body. After another half a day, Lu Ming had only recovered half of his vital essence. His injuries had basically stabilized and there was no major problem. However, he had lost 50 years of his life, which was a serious loss of life essence. This could not be replenished. At this time, Lu Ming stopped recovering, got up, and walked out of the cave. There was no time. A day had passed, and Wang Haoxian could catch up at any time. He had to prepare early. Walking out of the cave, Lu Ming began to inscribe inscription formations around him. Inscriptions sank into the ground one by one. Lu Ming continued inscribing for half a day and inscribed a dozen formations in total. Lu Ming. Lu Ming. At this time, Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin walked out of the cave. Although the two of them had not fully recovered, at least they had stabilized and had a certain combat strength. We'll wait here for Wang Haoxian, Lu Ming said. As soon as he finished speaking, he looked at the distant sky. A flame streaked across the void. Wang Haoxian was coming. He was so fast. Whoosh! Wang Haoxian appeared above their heads. You have my flame aura on you. As long as you don't get rid of it, you can forget about escaping from me. Wang Haoxian's killing intent became even stronger. A genius like her, whose cultivation was far above Lu Ming and the others, was not injured by Lu Ming. In her opinion, this was a great humiliation. You're just relying on your cultivation. Give me another half a year, and I'll kill you. Chapter 807. Having a high cultivation base is a sign of talent. Only those with low cultivation bases would say such useless things. Kill! Wang Haoxian was very decisive. As soon as she finished speaking, she pounced on Lu Ming and the others. Retreat! Lu Ming shouted and retreated quickly with Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin. You can't escape. Wang Haoxian landed and strode forward. Is that so? There was a cold smile at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. He took a step forward and densely packed inscriptions suddenly appeared on the ground. Many large arrays appeared. Sword chi swept out, sabers whistled, and vines wrapped around them as they pounced on Wang Haoxian. You set up an inscription array here. Wang Haoxian roared and directly used bloodline fusion. She turned into a purple flame and rampaged in the array. Let's go quickly. Wang Haoxian is too strong, and her bloodline is nature type. After using bloodline fusion, it's extremely difficult to kill her. My inscription array probably won't be able to kill her. Lu Ming whispered. He, Xian Yanqing, and Kong Jin rose into the air and flew into the distance. Lu Ming had just broken through to the 6th level of inscription. It only took him half a day to inscribe an inscription array, and he couldn't kill Wang Haoxian. Lu Ming knew very well that Wang Haoxian could survive the Thunder Cauldron's attack because her vitality was too strong. This was the advantage of nature-type bloodlines. Lu Ming had just lost 50 years of his life. It was difficult for him to control the Thunder Cauldron and launch a second attack. If he forced himself to launch the attack, he would lose a lot of vitality in a short time. It would definitely affect his future cultivation and even his foundation. It would be difficult for him to improve in the future. The only thing he could do now was to trap Wang Haoxian and then retreat. The three of them flew in the direction of 9 dragons. Soon, they had covered a distance of 100,000 miles. Little Qing, Fatty, you two go to the Sky Vault Legacy grounds first. Lu Ming suddenly said. Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin were slightly stunned. Lu Ming, what are you trying to do? You want to deal with Wang Haoxian alone? No way. Xian Yanqing could tell what was on Lu Ming's mind at one glance and rejected him flatly. That's right. That crazy woman is too strong. If you stay here alone, you'll just be throwing your life away. If you want to fight, let's fight together. Kong Jin said. Don't worry, I won't fight her recklessly. Her target is me, so I'll draw them away. You guys go to the Sky Vault ruins. We'll meet at the Sea Cloud sect in half a year. Lu Ming said. No, I won't agree. Xian Yanqing shook his head firmly. Listen to me. My inscription formation can't trap Wang Haoxian for too long. She will catch up with us soon. If it goes on like this, we will die in her hands sooner or later. Don't worry. I alone am 100% sure that I can get rid of Wang Haoxian. Lu Ming said. No. Xian Yanqing still shook his head. Fatty. Lu Ming looked at Kong Jin. Are you really 100% sure? Kong Jin asked. I'm 100% sure, but if the three of us work together, it won't even be 10%. Little Qing, listen to me. Lu Ming said. No, I want to follow you. Don't try to lie to me. Xian Yanqing said stubbornly. Lu Ming was speechless. He sighed and said, well, Fatty, you go first. Little Qing and I will draw Wang Haoxian away. After saying that, Lu Ming walked over and took Xian Yanqing's little hand. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly made a move. He stretched out his hand and tapped on Xian Yanqing's body a few times. Xian Yanqing did not expect Lu Ming to suddenly attack her. She was caught off guard. At this moment, her body slumped to the ground and she fell into a coma. Lu Ming supported Xian Yanqing and said to Kong Jin, Fatty, take little Qing to the Sky Vault ruins. Kong Jin was dumbfounded. Hurry up. Don't worry, I'll be fine. It's just that this girl's temper is too stubborn, so I can only do this. She will wake up soon. Lu Ming looked at Fatty with bright eyes. Alright, then take care. Kong Jin sighed. This was the only way now. He also knew that it would be difficult for the three of them to escape Wang Haoxian's pursuit. Lu Ming might be able to do it alone. Lu Ming, if you don't come, I'll see you at the Sea Cloud sect in half a year. Fatty's true essence rolled up Xian Yanqing and quickly flew away. His voice came from afar. Lu Ming landed and sat cross-legged on a mountain peak. He continued to devour spirit crystals to recover his true essence. The Nine Dragons' bloodline crazily devoured the spirit crystals. His true essence was quickly recovering. 60%, 70%, 80%. 2 hours later, Lu Ming's true essence had recovered to 80%. At this time, a purple light flashed in the distance. Wang Haoxian's figure appeared in the air. At this time, her breath was a little chaotic and her face was a little pale. Obviously, she had paid a price to break out of those large arrays. You're alone. You want to hold me back and let the other two escape? What a good plan. However, I'll kill you soon, and then I'll kill the other two. Wang Haoxian sneered. Oh, come and kill me if you can. Lu Ming smiled. Humph. Wang Haoxian snorted, but she did not land. She was afraid that Lu Ming would inscribe an inscription array below. I won't go down. I'll kill you all the same. Wang Haoxian sneered and waved her fists. The roaring flame fist burst out and attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming turned and left. He used the 9 dragons in the sky and chose a different direction from Xian Yanqing and strode away. You want to leave? Not so easy. Wang Haoxian turned into a fiery light and continued to chase Lu Ming. Wang Haoxian's movement technique was not to be underestimated. Her speed was extremely fast. Although Lu Ming used the 9 dragons in the sky, he could only take 4 steps in a row. His level was still a little low. Although he had extreme speed, it was only comparable to Wang Haoxian's. The two of them, one chasing and one escaping, were far away in the blink of an eye. Soon, the two of them had flown a distance of a few million miles. Wang Haoxian was still hot on Lu Ming's tail. "Hey, beauty, you want to catch me so badly? I already have a sweetheart," Lu Ming shouted as he used the 9 dragons in the sky. "You're courting death," Wang Haoxian shouted angrily. Along the way, as Lu Ming fled, he did not forget to use various words to attack her. She was so angry that her lungs almost exploded. Her murderous intent toward Lu Ming intensified. "This woman is too damn difficult to deal with." Lu Ming gritted his teeth and continued flying. In front of him, a boundless mountain forest appeared in front of him. The trees in this forest were exceptionally tall. Strangely, the trees were all black. Even the leaves were black. It was extremely strange. As he approached the forest, he could hear thunderous roars from the forest. The roars of monsters were full of ferocity. Lu Ming rushed in without hesitation. As soon as he rushed in, Lu Ming's expression changed drastically. He felt that his body seemed to be more than 10 times heavier. There was a kind of pressure between heaven and earth that was pressing down on him, greatly reducing his speed. At least 10 times slower. But now, he could only try his best to move forward. Chapter 808. What is this place? Lu Ming's mind spun rapidly as he moved forward. Roar! Before he could fly far, a black tiger-shaped beast rushed out from below and pounced at him. This tiger-shaped beast was hairless, but it was covered in black scales. Its eyes were blood red, and there was no sign of intelligence. Instead, it was filled with savagery. The wind howled. This tiger-shaped beast had the battle prowess of a peak king. Lu Ming took a step forward, and a trace of power burst out. This tiger-shaped beast was directly blasted down, falling to the ground below, causing debris to fly everywhere. Lu Ming's speed did not slow down at all as he moved forward rapidly. Behind him, Wang Haoxian chased closely. However, in this forest, the two's speed was much slower. Moreover, there were fierce beasts pouncing at the two from time to time, causing them to be unable to fly at full speed. Moreover, the deeper they flew, the higher the level of the fierce beasts that appeared. In the beginning, the beasts that appeared were all Peak King level beasts. Towards the end, the beasts that appeared were equivalent to the first and second layer of the spiritual sea realm. These beasts did not have any intelligence, and were filled with savagery. When they saw them, they would pounce at them. The two chased and fled. After half a day, they had only flown tens of thousands of miles. This forest was boundless, and they were still in the forest. Mad Beast Forest. Lu Ming, you've come to the Mad Beast Forest. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Lu Ming's mind. This voice was not Dandan's, but Supreme Nine Sons. Senior Nine Sons. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Ever since he saw Liao Cong in the underground world, Supreme Nine Sons had woken up once, and then he continued to sleep. He did not expect to wake up now. Senior Nine Sons, is this called the Mad Beast Forest? Lu Ming communicated with Supreme Nine Sons. You should have arrived at Nine Dragon City, right? This should be the Mad Beast Forest. I left something here back then, and it resonated with me. That's why I woke up from my sleep. Supreme Nine Sons' voice sounded in Lu Ming's mind. He continued, looks like you're being chased. Being chased by a crazy woman. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. How about this, you can hide in the Temple of Paragon for a while. Supreme Nine Yang said. Entering the Temple of Paragon? Lu Ming was stunned. In the past, Supreme Master Jiu Yang had set up restrictions in the Temple of Paragon so that he wouldn't be able to enter the Temple of Paragon when he was in danger. His goal had been to train him, but now, he had taken the initiative to let him enter the Temple of Paragon. As if he had seen Lu Ming's confusion, Supremacy Jiu Yang said, in the past, I just wanted to train you. I didn't want you to rely too much on the Temple of Paragon. If you were in danger, you would hide in the Temple of Paragon. That way, You wouldn't be as strong as you used to be. You would lose the opportunity to train yourself. But now, your cultivation level isn't bad. You've experienced a lot and gained a lot of experience. Your martial heart is stable. So, this kind of restriction doesn't mean anything to you. In the future, you can enter the Temple of Paragon whenever you want. You can also let other people in. Supreme Nine Yang explained. Lu Ming nodded. He was overjoyed. There were no restrictions in the Temple of Paragon, and he could bring other people in. That would be very useful to him. Lu Ming, don't be happy too early. The Temple of Paragon was my weapon back then. After you entered the Temple of Paragon just disappeared into the void. So, other people can't see it. However, your cultivation level isn't weak now. The enemies you meet in the future will be stronger. Spiritual embryo realm cultivators can sense the void. Even if you hide in the Temple of Paragon, you'll be discovered and forced out. On the other hand, domain enlightened spirit gods are even capable of tearing space apart at will. So, hiding in the Temple of Paragon when encountering such an expert would only be like catching a turtle in a jar and falling into a passive state. So, one's own strength is the way to go. Supreme Nine Yang reminded him seriously. I understand. Lu Ming nodded. However, Lu Ming didn't plan to hide in the Temple of Paragon now. Only half a day had passed. If he hid in the Temple of Paragon now and Wang Haoxian couldn't find him, she might go after Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin. Lu Ming planned to delay Wang Haoxian. After a few days, Xian Yanqing and Kong Jin would refine all the fire aura Wang Haoxian had left on them. After entering the Sky Vault ruins, it would be difficult for Wang Haoxian to find Xian Yanqing and the others. It would be almost impossible. Only then would Lu Ming be at ease. So, Lu Ming didn't enter the Temple of Paragon. Instead, he dragged Wang Haoxian and continued flying in the wild beast forest. As they flew, Lu Ming talked to Supreme Nine Yang. Senior Nine Yang, why is this forest so strange? Not only is there a lot of pressure here, even the demonic beasts don't have intelligence and are extremely fierce. Lu Ming asked curiously. Normally, King Realm demonic beasts could speak, and Sea of Soul Realm demonic beasts could transform into human form. However, along the way, Lu Ming had already met a lot of Sea of Soul Realm demonic beasts. Not to mention transforming into human form, none of them could even speak. There are many strange places in the world, and the wild beast forest is one of them. Legend has it that a long time ago, the blood of a peerless expert was scattered here, covering a radius of 1,000,000 miles. The blood contained the murderous aura, resentment, and murderous aura of a peerless expert. The blood turned this place into a forbidden land, and the earth's structure changed. It was filled with a strange energy field that suppressed any living being that entered. At the same time, the demonic beasts here were affected by the murderous aura, resentment, and murderous aura in the blood and became extremely fierce. They lost their intelligence and became ferocious demonic beasts that only know how to kill. That's why it's called the Wild Beast Forest. Supreme Nine Yang explained. Lu Ming understood, but he was shocked. This place was actually caused by the blood of a peerless expert. The blood covered a radius of 1,000,000 miles and changed the earth's structure. In the endless years to come, the demonic beasts would be affected by the murderous aura and become wild beasts. How powerful was that? What kind of realm was that? It was impossible for a martial emperor expert to do that. It was definitely an existence that surpassed the martial emperor realm. But now, was there such a powerful existence in the world? In the divine wilderness continent, martial emperors were revered, and martial emperors were synonymous with invincibility. They were the strongest experts. Perhaps, there were existences that surpassed the martial emperor realm outside the divine wilderness continent? He thought of the autumn moon. It was very likely that the autumn moon had been taken away by the experts outside the divine wilderness continent. Lu Ming, I built a temporary cave in the wild beast forest and left many things inside. They should be of great help to you. Supreme Nine Yang spoke again, which made Lu Ming's heart beat faster. Who was Supreme Nine-Yang? He was a martial emperor, the strongest expert below the martial emperor realm. He was at the peak of the spiritual god realm. How shocking would the things he left behind be?